This is Ben from the Dillinger Escape Plan. You're watching loudguitarist.com.
Hey guys, Drew, loudguitarist.com, and I'm here with Ben Weinman of Dillinger Escape Plan. How you doing, Ben?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How's the show for you so far?
I just got here 5 minutes ago.
So you haven't
You're like the fourth person I've talked to.
so you haven't had a chance to really walk around and see what's going on. I see you've got your signature model in your hand here. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on what's going on with it?
It's kind of like the all-around perfect guitar. But I wanted to make a guitar that, an ESP fan, ESP has so many great guitars, and there's a couple guys like that work with ESP for a long time, like Paige Hamilton from Helmet and Alex Skolnick and all these guys now who are like, doing a lot of different kinds of music. They're doing jazz, they're doing metal, they're diverse like myself, and they want to be able to play all kinds of styles. So I was like, I want to make a guitar that any of us could use in any scenario and feel good about it. So this is it, and it's something I've used to do like improv jazz gigs. I use it for metal. It's got a semi-hollow body, so like even if you're just sitting on the toilet and you want to riff out, it's got some volume, which is for me my most creative time. It's got this, I guess the most unique feature about it is it has this bridge called the Evertune, which is this pretty innovative technology. Every single string is spring-loaded in there, and it's able to retain the tension of each tuning of each string. So once you actually set the tension on each string for the tuning that you want, it stays in tune no matter what. So it can be sitting at a festival in the heat all day and it'll stay in tune. It can come off a plane and it's still in tune. And it's unbelievable. You can even turn the pegs and it'll stay in tune, and it'll adjust the tension that quickly. So for live it's great, but even more in the studio, it's like shave days and days off my recordings from not having to stop and tune constantly, You can hit very aggressively and it doesn't pull sharp. You can pound it, you can really pull tone out of it, and you're not going to pull sharp or pull, So for me, those are just real functional things that really work great for it.
Now, was there thought behind putting more wood in this guitar because of the amount of wood that came out putting the Evertune in there?
No, because I find that just, for one thing, the Evertunes they're making much smaller these days. They're able to make it much smaller, but also the metal itself has a quality to it. So to me, the amount of like heavy metal in the guitar mixed with the wood creates kind of a unique situation as well. So it does have mass, even if it's not all wood mass. So that's what's kind of cool about it, actually.
And with all the metal, I'm sure it cuts very, very well.
Yeah.
The EMG pickups, which model is this?
Well, these are actually, I'm not sure in this show model what they put in here, but typically what I've had is an 81 and an 85 combination. So an 85 in the neck.
With chrome covers or just the regular ones?
This is the first one I've seen like this, actually. Mine were black.
Looks very nice.
But I did actually want the chrome because I thought it looked well. I thought it worked well with the model. Kind of more classic.
Were you completely involved in the selection of woods?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much gave them specifically everything I wanted. Unlike the previous kind of like semi-hollow bodies that they were making in the past, this is a neck through, so it's much stronger. You can take way more abuse. So it's it's maple. It's got the flame see-through top, which is different. The controls are strategically placed so that you can play live and not really turn them on and off. With a lot of these models, these kind of guitars, you're constantly hitting things with your hand. So these things were placed in a much more convenient place, so you can play and not really just control those things when you need to control it.
Looks like a beautiful guitar.
Thank you.
So tell me, top 50 fastest guitar players, top 100 best guitar players. How did it make you feel when you heard the news of the fastest guitar player thing?
It was weird. I mean, I always feel weird about those kind of lists because I've never considered myself. I've never wanted to be like the fastest or the best guitar player in the world. It's never been my goal. I've never been like a guitar nerd, so to speak, but I've always loved making music and being in bands and like creating. And so for me, the guitar happened to be like what I was able to get my hands on as a kid, and I fell in love with it. But I mean, I'll be literally like pounding on a table, making rhythms and recording it, and that may end up a song. whatever. So for me, it's never been about just trying to sit down and become the best guitar player. I've always just wanted to make the best music I can. So I've always been a little uncomfortable with those kind of accolades, but at the same time, it's such an honor. It's insane, to even think that someone would care. When we started this band, it was never with the intention of reaching a mass amount of people. There was never a specific audience or market in mind. We weren't creating music that we thought most people would even get or care about. So when I hear about people in Europe and Asia or Russia liking my band, or we get on these kind of lists or something, it's still, I don't take it for granted at all.
Now, speaking about music in general, I mean, outside of Dillinger, do you have plans to record anything jazz-like or fusion-like, or outside of the heavier stuff?
Yeah.
Is it in your plans to do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff with various artists and collaborations. I mean, I've worked with Wyclef. I've worked with New Zealand artist Kimbra, who's like a pop artist. I have a side project I'm working on with, which is still more in the vein of the heavier stuff, but it's with Brent Himes from Mastodon, John Theodore from Queens of the Stone Age, and Eric Avery from Jane's Addiction, and that's a little different. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that I've been working on. I'm always doing stuff.
But no solid plans for like a complete solo effort or like an instrumental record?
I am doing a solo. I'm working on some solo stuff as well. Still, always working on things with Mike Patton, and so there's all things in the works. It's just a matter of
the time,
going on. So
yeah, for sure. You're a busy guy. Can you talk to us a little bit about your signal chain and what you're using app-wise, touring specifically?
Yeah, I'm using the Mesa Boogie Mark V mainly, and that really is a beast. I mean, it's got so many options. Particularly, for one, you can change the wattage of every channel individually, which is amazing. So you can really get the most out of that tube amplifier. A lot of bands now in heavy music aren't really even using amplifiers anymore. They're using simulations and all kinds of stuff. Obviously, I'm a guy who has a hard time focusing on one thing. I have a lot of projects. I have all these things going on. I love playing different instruments. But I think that sometimes those options can create obstacles. But with the Mark V, you have the perfect amount of options and flexibility. But it's all functional, and you're not sitting there playing around with buttons and all kinds of stuff. Every single individual channel has reverb that you can adjust. You can turn it on and off from the pedal. There's a 5-band EQ, which can be turned on and off on the pedal on any of the channels you want. It's a 3-channel amplifier. It's really just flexible and sounds amazing.
Now, touring, it must be a little bit difficult. Are you able to carry your backline with you everywhere you go, or do you have to struggle with trying to get that when you're in different places?
I do bring certain aspects of my rig on tour with me, wirelesses and some pedals and things like that. But I typically rent ahead wherever I go.
Have you ever run into any issues where you they've delivered something else, Marshall or whatever else that you had to plug into?
I also have one of these mini Mesa Boogie rectifier heads, which is like this big, and it fits in a little case. And I've brought that with me to like Asia and things like that, where I know I may not get the Mark V that I'm looking for. That thing sounds amazing. I actually played that thing in Australia in front of 10,000 people opening for System of a Down in a tennis arena. I used that, and it sounded amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Really well. So, yeah, I've certainly run into situations where I haven't had my my preferred situation, but I always make the best of it.
Cool. So what's up for you in the band next?
We're doing Soundwave in Australia coming up, and then we're going to do a full North American headline tour in April.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you.